Coming up on Cronkite NewsWatch.
Millions of families depend on food stamps. Why one part of our community is in greater need.
How one doctor is using technology to connect with patients around the valley without ever leaving his desk.
And one clinic celebrates 150 years of serving our community.
In-depth, insightful, innovative. Cronkite NewsWatch starts right now.
Hello and welcome to Cronkite NewsWatch. I'm Tara Molina.
And I'm Nathan Delatorre. Thanks for joining us.
Tonight is your final chance to weigh in on the Phoenix City budget. And this time, you don't even have to leave your couch.
Reporter Brittany Vermilia tells us where you can watch the budget meeting and how you can jump in on the conversation.
The mayor and city manager will host an online interactive hearing tonight. You can catch the live broadcast on the city's cable TV station Phoenix 11 and on the city's website. Residents can submit questions and comments on the Facebook and Twitter using the hashtag PhoenixBudget. Mayor Stan started the conversation on Twitter saying, "Tweet me your comments, hashtag PhoenixBudget." So what do you think of all of this? After you tweet the mayor, tweet us at CN Insider. Live in the broadcast center, I'm Brittany Vermilia, Cronkite News.
The legislature is also looking at social media. House Bill 2515, also known as the Revenge Porn Bill, passed unanimously through the Senate yesterday, and now it goes back to the House for a final vote. The bill would make posting nude photos of a person without their consent a felony, and it aims to combat the posting of revenge porn that's consistently being seen on social media.
More than 1 in 4 Arizona children live in households that struggle to put food on the table, according to a new food insecurity report. Arizona has the third worst food insecurity rate for children in the U.S., behind only New Mexico and Mississippi. 18% of the state's population struggle to buy food because of their finances, which is better than the numbers from 2011, but they're still higher than the national average.
Tonight, a closer look at one specific segment of the population and its struggle with hunger: the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender community. Reporter Kaylee Formicella spoke with an Arizona man who knows this statistic firsthand. Kaylee, what is food insecurity and why are the numbers higher for LGBT people?
Tara, simply put, food insecurity refers to someone who has a hard time getting food, especially nutritious food. So while nearly 50 million Americans in total were food insecure in 2012, a new study from the UCLA School of Law found that LGBT people were much more likely to need food stamps than their straight counterparts.
It's not much what I get, but I wouldn't be able to eat it all if I didn't have it.
Kerry Jones, or CJ as his friends call him, is a gay man who is just getting by on food stamps. And CJ's not alone. In fact, not at all. A study by the Williams Institute found that more than 1 in 4 LGBT adults experienced a time in the past year when they didn't have enough money to feed themselves or their family. Well, that's about 2.4 million people, 2 times the amount of non-LGBT adults. CJ told us the unique challenges LGBT people face has a big impact on the numbers.
The parents don't understand and they kick them out and they have no place to go, where they go stay with a friend, and they won't or can't get a job, and so the only thing they can do to help pay for their part of staying wherever they're staying is go get food stamps.
While food stamps are one option, 1 in 10 is an organization that helps get 50 meals a day to LGBT youth and 100 meals a day in the summer when meals at school aren't an option. Another resource here in Phoenix helps feed a different subgroup of the LGBT community.
The Joshua Tree Feeding Program, these are members of the LGBT community who are living with HIV and AIDS, so a lot of their financial resources may go towards their health care.
CJ can't work anymore because of a workplace injury. He misses his independence, but feels fed in other ways, by helping other members of his community get back on their feet.
What keeps me going is doing my volunteer work and my dogs.
Volunteer work that may change the very issues the LGBT community is now facing. CJ volunteers at a handful of organizations throughout the valley. If you'd like to join him, the St. Mary's Food Bank is always accepting non-perishable food donations, and you can specify which charity you'd like to receive the food. Live from the Media Center, I'm Kaylee Formicella, Cronkite News.
It's projected that by year 2020, there will be 1.4 million computer science jobs, but only 400,000 students who could fill those openings. As Vivian Padilla tells us, a law could help change that.
It may look like child's play, but lawmakers see it as the future.
Arizona needs skilled workers, especially when it comes to computer science and technology.
This is the kind of stuff that really can turn a lot of young men and young women into our future computer scientists and high-tech CEOs.
And that's why both are behind House Bill 2265. The bill would allow schools to substitute a rigorous computer science course for a math class.
Programming is a lot easier today. Don't just play on your phone, program it.
The lawmakers teamed up with Code.org, an organization that has successfully passed a similar bill in 19 other states.
In a world surrounded by iPhones and soon self-driving cars and all the things that are happening with technology, learning how the internet works or learning how to dissect an app is just as important in terms of basic preparation.
The computer course has to be college level, and the Arizona Science Center is also on board, saying the state is creating our future workforce.
All of these things are invaluable tools, the baseline, the framework that we're laying for a future interest in a field that may not even be created yet.
Which could mean a bright future for Arizona's children. In Phoenix, Vivian Padilla, Cronkite News.
Just last year, only 300 computer science students graduated from all 3 major state universities.
When it comes to Alzheimer's, one can only hope that a cure is found. But as Esteban da Silva tells us, there's a new practice that is helping those that are sick cope with the disease.
Located kitty-corner to one of Arizona's largest music venues is another building where musicians perform, except these aren't your typical rock stars.
He likes rhythmic things. That's why I incorporated a lot of rhythmic things, because it's what sparks his interest.
Carlos is a music therapist for sick patients and those with learning disabilities at ASU's Music Therapy Clinic in Tempe, and he doesn't have a completely traditional relationship with his clients.
Can't remember my name from week to week, but that's okay. He recognizes me though. He knows who I am, but he just can't come up with a name.
It's extremely enjoyable and helpful for Kenneth and me, and I really think that I could use this music therapy as well.
Ken's Alzheimer's will never go away, but he has improved his focusing and his ability to time the music during sessions.
Through music, it just helps people to connect more. And when I make that connection, that's the highlight of the whole session.
And the connections Carlos makes truly impacts the lives of not only his patients, but the people around him as well. Reporting in Tempe, I'm Esteban da Silva, Cronkite News.
Coming up on NewsWatch.
How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling fine.
In a digital age, technology is changing the way you see your doctor.
It's a farm next to a freeway. Coming up on Cronkite NewsWatch, I'll show you how they're using the organic produce here to feed patients in the hospital.
Kiss me. That's my kind of man. You've been creating quite a stir.
The winter you've been waiting for is on PBS.
You must choose either death or life.
All the drama.
There's going to be changes at Downton.
It's getting harder to say no.
The adventure.
The waves are breaking all around us.
And the spectacle of nature.
We're going to show how special these animals are.
Come in from the cold. Support the one place that can take you any place.
It's It's Earth Day and we're celebrating with a little recycling. More than half of what we throw away could be recycled.
That's right, Tara. You know, a lot of people think that you can recycle plastic bags like these, but you really can't because they get stuck in the recycling machine.
And you can recycle plastic bottles and paper as long as they're clean.
And guess what? We're getting dirty for Earth Day with a harvest.
Reporter Megan Thompson went to One Valley Hospital today and joins us live on how they're breaking new ground when it comes to food.
That's right, Tara. They're going back to the roots of healthy eating, and to celebrate Earth Day, they're getting the community involved in their latest push for healthy eating.
These bags filled with more than just produce.
You could do a nice saute with the leeks and the tomatoes, and we have some fresh carrots, and then there's a seasoning packet as well.
They're filled with hope for the cancer patients just next door, who look out their window and see this 25-acre organic farm.
The nutrients in the product doesn't have time to diminish. You bring it straight to the table, straight to the patient, they get the maximum nutritional value.
And today, Cancer Treatment Centers of America hosted a farmers market to showcase their fresh produce to the community, to change the way we think about hospital food.
I've worked at other healthcare environments, and I've seen the way they treat food, and it's definitely not the way we treat food here, but it needs to be.
Now 25 acres may seem like a lot right next to a hospital and right off the freeway, but they plan on expanding this even more.
Yesterday, students from around the valley came out to harvest what you see here, and now they can provide the food to the community and continue to harvest hope for fighting patients.
Now, those green bags filled with food went for $5 a piece, and 20% of the proceeds benefit the Arizona Alliance of Healthcare. Now, that program donates and helps with financial issues that are non-medical for those patients. Live in downtown Phoenix, Megan Thompson, Cronkite News.
Another health organization in Arizona is celebrating 150 years of service.
The Mayo Clinic showcased their long history with a mobile exhibit. Speakers at the event included Phoenix Mayor Greg Stanton and Governor Jan Brewer. And while they've only been in Arizona for 27 of their 150 years, Governor Brewer said she was proud of the clinic's influence and the future employment opportunities it'll provide.
The clinic will also add about 1,000 jobs to our economy from the expansion of Mayo Clinic's Cancer Center, which will add about 820 new jobs over the next decade.
The state-of-the-art cancer treatment facility will open in 2016.
And Tara, there's a new innovation that will change the way we see our doctors. Reporter Taylor Bryan took a look into this new technology.
That's right, Nathan. Telemedicine is the next best thing in healthcare. It means doctors can reach patients without ever leaving their desk.
How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling fine.
This may sound like a normal doctor visit,
I'm sorry I can't get there. I'm about 14 miles away.
but it's not.
So I thought this was the best way to communicate with you.
It's the next best thing. Telehealth technologies allow doctors and patients to get checkups virtually.
Telehealth is a technological solution that increases the access that patients have to their physicians.
Technology company EmergeMD says it takes telehealth to a whole new level by putting all telehealth solutions into one.
Secure texting, video sharing, doctor-to-doctor collaboration, and empowering the enterprise, such as the hospital. It's a one-platform solution.
Telemedicine is increasing in popularity. One of the reasons why? You can use your cell phone to talk to your doctor from wherever you are. According to the telemedicine program at the University of Arizona, there are 55 healthcare systems and 170 sites who use some form of telehealth. Dr. Reese can treat all of his patients at 12 different hospital locations right from his office chair.
In the emergency department, if they need a terminal specialist, such as a hand surgeon or psychiatric help or neurosurgery support, they can communicate in real time with the physician.
Even Dr. Reese's patient today said he prefer a face-to-face visit, but both agree these virtual visits won't shortchange the practice of medicine.
This is revolutionary and will increase the quality and access to care that patients get.
Thank you. Thanks, Mariel. We're good.
Okay. People in rural areas will really benefit from telemedicine because they will have access to doctors only available in the city. In the control room, I'm Taylor Bryant.
Empty aluminum, metal, and aerosol cans like these can also be recycled. But don't try to recycle paint cans or pesticide sprays. Those aren't accepted.
Coming up on NewsWatch.
We continue our coverage of water issues in Arizona and tell you what is being done to regulate water in the state.
It may be hot today, but expect a cool down headed your way. That and your full forecast coming up next.
NewsWatch is one of the really big things I will always remember for the rest of my life.
You're lugging around all of your equipment, you are doing all of the work, and that's what makes it so fulfilling to me.
Being an anchor, I think it's a privilege. I enjoy every moment of it.
Seeing your show on air, it is one of the most surreal feelings ever.
What if we could unlock every mystery?
We're at the beginning of a revolution.
That's a huge discovery.
That's never been done before, ever, anywhere.
Touchdown.
No one feeds on curiosity like PBS. Give to your PBS station so future generations can keep asking, what if?
I am a chef. I cook for a living. And I think of PBS as a window to the world. That kind of place where you feel you are part of the story. I want to be part of every possible world is out there. That's when things become really amazing. And when you are able to see stories that make you wonder, makes you think, that's what really makes PBS so meaningful. And that's the kind of TV we need to be supporting today.
Water usage around one Arizona river basin is affecting you here in Phoenix. The investigative team's Dom DeFurio takes a deeper look.
The water that comes out of your faucet has made a long journey. It flows into Phoenix from rural areas, but the state isn't sure exactly how much of that water is really making it to you.
In Arizona's Verde River Basin, wells are draining water from the ground at a rate that experts say just isn't sustainable.
Anybody that's been close to water knows that the problem's been coming for years, decades.
These hydrologists from the Department of Water Resources are taking measurements from a well owned by the city of Phoenix.
243.74.
This year, the Arizona Department's 8 data collectors will measure about 1,700 wells. It's a job that keeps them on the road for much of the year. Over time, they've been able to get a sense of water level trends in the state.
There we go.
But have never had enough money to measure outside of the state's 5 active management areas, or AMAs. These zones were set up by the state. The department's chief hydrologist oversees the workers who monitor these wells.
We certainly don't do as many water level measurements statewide as we used to.
The city of Clarkdale sits above a major source of underground water and right beside the Verde River, but it isn't included in any of the AMAs. I found only 37 wells registered in the city of Clarkdale. Just one of those is checked regularly by the state, and it's not this one.
In a private well, nobody ever checks it.
Doug Von Gossig is the mayor of Clarkdale and the chairman of an institute that monitors the river. He measures his well, and it gives him a better idea of how much water he's using. Von Gossig tells me that 37 wells is an understatement, and hundreds of others are overlooked.
I would say it's closer to 500.
Even in 2005, Clarkdale wells drained enough water to supply 21,000 families for a year.
As you intercept that water from the aquifers and use it for human purposes, it's water that doesn't make it to the river eventually.
The Verde River Basin is the size of Rhode Island and is important to Phoenix because it supplied almost 40% of the Salt River's water last year.
Water from all over the state will flow through the rivers into these canals, such as the one you see beside me, and it'll eventually end up in your home.
Former Arizona Senator Tom O'Halloran sponsored 9 water bills while in office and says not enough is being done to conserve water in river basins like the Verde.
I just, for the life of me, can't imagine that we as Arizona citizens want to lose that. Those are all very, very difficult political issues and very difficult economic issues that have to be solved.
For the investigative team, I'm Dom DeFurio.
Right now, you'll probably notice that wind speeds have already begun to pick up since earlier this morning as a cold front begins to push through our state, followed by an extremely dry, low-pressure system, followed with some high clouds as well. And with these dry and heavy wind conditions, we will increase our fire danger risk. We are under a red flag warning today, actually since 2 o'clock this afternoon, and that's for most of northern Arizona as well as the western part of our state. We'll be in that red flag warning up until 8 o'clock this evening. But let's take a look at our current temperatures tonight. Not looking too bad for this Earth Day. Up in 66 for Grand Canyon, 65 for Flagstaff. Winslow, you're at 80. Here in Phoenix, we're sitting at 95 degrees. Then by the evening, we're going to cool off to about 68 degrees with partly cloudy skies. And then tomorrow, pick right back up again, and we'll be in the 60s for northern Arizona, 68 for Page, 68 for Grand Canyon as well, 65 for Show Low. And we're going to take a break from those 90s. We'll only see a high of 86 tomorrow in Phoenix, as well as Yuma 87 and 85 for Tucson. Then for the next couple of days, we're going to continue to be in the 80s until that second stronger low pressure system picks up on Friday. And we're going to drop temperatures about 10 degrees on Saturday. We'll be at a high of 80 with some clouds rolling through as well. And then Sunday will be a high of 81 and our overnight lows are only going to be from the mid to upper 50s. That's it for your full forecast. I'm Alina Lee, Cronkite Weather.
Coming up on Newswatch.
In sports, we remember a fallen hero who has inspired all of us to be better people. And the USC Women of Troy have an ace up their sleeve that you wouldn't believe.
A tradition of excellence, integrity, and innovation.
The second I came in, I fell in love with the program.
The Cronkite School propels students into the new era of journalism.
Students are learning.
Digital, entrepreneurial, and collaborative labs encourage students to shape the future of the industry, and the industry is watching.
We have come here to meet with students at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism.
The Cronkite School, the journalism school for the digital age.
What if television could sweep us away to another time and place?
Very nice, my lady.
And could take us from the Gilded Age to the Great War. From the heat of the chase to the heart of a queen. No one tells stories like PBS. Give to your PBS station and help bring stories like these to life. What if television could remember the heroes we honored, the music we danced to, the dreams we chased?
The hope still lives, and the dream shall never die.
No one tells our nation's story like PBS. Give to your PBS station and help bring America's story to life.
Ten years ago today, we all remember the tragic death of Pat Tillman. Tillman inspired many because he chose to stop playing safety for the Arizona Cardinals and instead chose to protect the safety of our nation. Tillman was killed by friendly fire while serving in the U.S. military. This Saturday will be the 10th annual Pat's Run, a tradition not only to remember the tragic day, but also a day to rejoice and celebrate the great man Pat Tillman was. If you have not participated in Pat's Run before, it is a wonderful experience that brings the entire community closer together. All right, let's move on to some sports. The D-backs' woes continue. With their loss yesterday to the Chicago Cubs, the D-backs now have a total of 17 losses on the season, by far the most in the majors. The loss makes them 1-9 in their last 10 games. The D-backs will try to get back on track when they take on the Chicago Cubs tonight in their second game of their 4-game series. Brandon McCarthy will be on the mound for the D-backs. McCarthy is 0-3 on the season and will be looking to bounce back from his last start when he lost the New York Mets. Now some teams that actually have a shot at a championship. The NBA playoffs are full swing, and last night 2 teams, the Los Angeles Clippers and the Memphis Grizzlies, needed bounce-back wins after their tough Game 1 losses. The Grizzlies would have their revenge, but not without some fireworks from Kevin Durant. Watch here as KD makes a sensational three-pointer to bring the game within 2. But the Thunder still would fall 111-105. And in the late game, the Clippers put a 40-point beat down on the Warriors. Lob City was in full effect. Watch this nasty alley-oop from Chris Paul to DeAndre Jordan. Ooh, making it look easy. Clippers run away with it 138-98. And from one playoffs to another, the NHL playoffs are underway and have not let down to this point. With 4 games going to the last night, one went into overtime and was a thriller. The Minnesota Wild and the Chicago Avalanche decided regulation wasn't enough. They needed some extra overtime to find the winner of this game. Within the first 5 minutes of overtime, Wild's Mikkel Granlund makes a diving shot to win the game. Look as he lays out and just wheels the puck past the goalie. And now the Wild survive and pick up their first win of the series. And the USC Trojans dominated both the Sun Devils and the Wildcats in the inaugural Pac-12 Sam Volleyball Invitational this past weekend. Our Cronkite sports reporter Nick Merrick shows us a secret weapon that the USC coaching staff has.
They are the best sand volleyball team in the country, and the women of Troy have the world's best player on their coaching staff. Misty May Trainer.
It's funny taking the coach role. I tell the parents, they're like, hey, coach. I'm like, that makes me feel old. Just call me Misty.
Okay, how about three-time gold medalist? But her days competing with her teammate Carrie Walsh are behind her. Now, Misty is a part of a different dynamic duo on the sidelines with Anna Collier.
She was an incredible athlete, so sometimes that doesn't always transfer. But having worked with her and having known her mother and Misty most of her life, I was pretty confident that that was going to be a smooth transition for her.
Don't pull on me. She helped Carrie and I our first year together. I would like to call her a drill sergeant because that's kind of how she runs things.
The player who inspired a generation of girls on the world stage is now helping them improve their game in person.
Misty is unbelievable. Well, I mean, she was my idol since I was 8 years old. So actually having her come in, like, as a coach, I was a little starstruck at first, I'm not gonna lie.
Misty wants sand volleyball to grow, and the women of Troy are setting and spiking the sport all the way to the top.
Coach, everybody's like, do you miss competing? I'm like, no, I play for fun. But to me, coaching is so much more rewarding, and I love it.
No matter what, sand will always be Misty's home. On the beach in Santa Monica, Nick Merrick, Cronkite Sports.
That's it for Cronkite NewsWatch tonight.
Thanks for joining us. Good night.